quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
It stinks.
Hello, my friends, and everybody tuned into It Stinks today on a beautiful Thursday, right here in your local area, neighborhood, city, town, county, state, wherever you're at. Thank you for tuning in to It Stinks today. We got a lot to discuss. That's why for the first time ever on It Stinks, we had to do a disclaimer because it's just so much going on, not only in TV and movie, but in the world of entertainment. Yes, in E-News today, we got so much to talk about. We got a trial going on right now with Diddy that may get very graphic. It's going to be probably the opening thing we start with after we do the intro. So if you want to skip that part, you're more than welcome to, because we got some other great things to talk about. But we got a trial unfolding right before our eyes. 3 days the trial has been going on, and yesterday, which was a Tuesday and Wednesday, one of the biggest things happened. Cassidy took the stage, and we definitely want to talk about where this trial is at and where it's headed. Of course, we always say Diddy's proven innocent. He's innocent till proven guilty in this trial. A released WWE star has found a new calling. That's right, released 3 weeks ago, right after WrestleMania, and now he has a new job on the USA Network, hosting a TV show. So we'll be talking about that. Another WWE star who did not get released is one of those long-term veterans, long-timers, old-timers, has found himself hosting another TV show, which I think will probably be the biggest one that he's ever hosted, to get him in that plateau where he gets on that level of Chris Jericho with doing TV and wrestling. Also, a lot of shows still getting the axe on NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox. We'll be talking about that. Also, 2 shows that we did not expect got the axe but have got survived and picked up by another major network. So we'll be talking about that. It's so much to unwind. It's right here, right before your eyes. It's Thursday. Thank you for tuning in, and we're definitely about to see if it stinks on the Boom Broadcaster.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
As we stated before, this part of It Stinks right here could get a little graphic, so viewer discretion is definitely advised throughout this segment. But we could not talk about TV shows, we cannot talk about movies and entertainment news without talking about the biggest blockbuster in entertainment news that's unfolding right before our eyes, which is the Shawn Diddy Combs case right here of what he's going through. As you know, Diddy's already indicted. He's in federal prison up there in the Manhattan area. Diddy has been indicted. He's been on trial for 3 days in Manhattan. The 3-day trial started on May the 5th. The jury selection began on May the 5th, trying to go through a panel list of jurors, trying to select who would be the chosen 12 and the chosen alternates for this jury selection. Then we go to day 2, which was May the 12th, when all the accusations were laid out by what Diddy is facing. Right now, Diddy's on trial for racketeering, conspiracy of aspiring to pay a security guard to not release the film that has pretty much been released now. Everybody has seen it, of that horrific act he did in the hallway to Cassidy that just shocked the world and blew everybody's mind. Diddy's on racketeering charge for that because they said that it was not bribery, because this guy was not a sworn law enforcement officer. He was just a security guard at the hotel. He's on trial for that. Of course, all the other stuff that's going on that he's on trial with, the sex trafficking, transport and engage in prostitution with Cassandra, who we know as Cassie Ventura. All this stuff has pretty much came down. Diddy has been serving a sentence in a federal prison right now. Diddy does face, if found guilty, life in prison, possibly without no parole. So Diddy probably is found guilty. We will not see him no more, and he won't see daylight on this side of the fence. No farther going on. This is a big trial. We're going to definitely follow this on It Stinks. Day 3, which happened on the 13th of May, was arguably the biggest day of the trial because that was the day that they brought in Cassie, who took the stands, and Cassie pretty much told everything. As I told everybody at the beginning of the show and throughout the show, it's going to get very graphic. We're going to keep it as much as G and PG as we can. Not even going to step the threshold over to PG-13. If you really want to know about the case, dive into it like I have. I've been getting the transcripts from the days at the end of the court date, the stuff that's been coming out in the newspapers. I've been able to get the transcripts of all the testimony and go through that and read it because I definitely follow in this trial because, there's two sides to every story. And, one thing about this, whether you take Cassie's side or Diddy's side, you're going to be looked in the views of people the wrong way. So I'm not taking nobody's side. As I said, hey, what we seen on tape, what Diddy did to Cassie was totally, totally horrific. Should have never been done. Won't stand behind it at all. But as I always say, Diddy is innocent till proven guilty. So you got to go in with that mindset with the trial. Of course, Day 3 of the trial, Cassie has dropped some envelopes, dropped some receipts, and pretty much told everything of the stuff she had to go through with Diddy, the devastating beatdown she took in the hotel that we all saw unfold before us. Diddy did come out and publicly apologize through social media that he was in a bad place at that time. Diddy did give an undisclosed payoff amount to Cassie for that altercation. But other things now have come out. And you've been hearing these things if you listen to anybody's podcast, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on any type of podcast or platform network. You hear comments from Terrence Howard. You heard comments from Cat Williams. You heard Suge Knight saying a long time ago, Diddy, you need to get out of the United States. Just if you don't have no dirt on you, get away from it because you are the last one of that Mohegan group that was pretty much innocent, clean, all this stuff. But you hear a lot of so much stuff. But Cassie went on the stands and told her side of the story. She talked about the verbal, physical, emotional abuse she endured for years from Diddy. So much she had to endure for him. Diddy pretty much, she told about how he wanted control over her. He wanted control over where she went, how long she was there, what did she wear, was it too provocative? If it was not too provocative, what type of fingernail polish she could put on, how she could do her hair. He had her pretty much engaged into these, we're going to call them, for a lack of better words, quote, FO parties, where they were having all this wild stuff that you wouldn't even fathom to imagine. She talked about all that stuff while she was on the stand. She said Diddy kind of fueled her with getting into drugs. She struggled for a long time being on opioids after breaking up with Diddy. Just so much she's pretty much told on that bench that day that it was so shocking and very, very graphic. If you have not read the transcripts from the court testimony, viewer discretion would read it. Read it at your own caution because it gets very, very vulgar, very graphic natures of things that she had to go through under this relationship with Diddy, which started off as something as a simple kiss that led to all of this. She said Diddy kind of forced himself on her with a kiss. She really thought because she was signed to the label, she supposed to did 10 albums on the label. That never came to fruition. Cassie had that big song back in the days, Me and You, when I was DJing. That was one of my hits. That was one of my go-tos when I was DJing in the club, everybody dancing, having a good time. I thought that boom, 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 throw that Cassie on right there. Man, it would take the party up to another level when I would throw that on, just had that good little party beat, So a big song right there, but she never got the fruition of the other 9 albums that were guaranteed for her. Diddy, she talked about that. That was one of what she talked about on the outside of the courtroom yesterday. Yesterday, she kind of focused when she came into court. I read the notes on that. She came in. She did not look at Diddy in the eye. Diddy looked at her. Her family looked at her. She did her best to come in. As you know, Cassie is pregnant with her 3rd child right now. And her husband, he was there for moral support. And You know, it takes a lot for somebody that's been through that type of relationship. You know, I don't know who watches this show. There's a lot of people that's suffering through physical, verbal, and emotional abuse that you don't know about. We would have never known that Cassie was going through that. When we saw Diddy, life was good. You know, even before all the charges come, even when all the charges came, Diddy was still walking the streets of New York with his family, smiling, taking pictures with fans, you know, showing that image that we see Diddy as. Same thing with Cassie. We would have never known all this stuff was going on behind the scenes, but a lot has unfolded from all the wild parties where Cassie was helping move escorts around, trafficking escorts around. Just a lot of stuff has unfolded. It is not looking good for Diddy. But as I always say, there are two sides to every story. I'm not going to sit here and chastise and say Diddy is guilty because, as I stated before, Diddy's innocent to proven guilty. I do know from what I've seen and America have seen, and the world, not even America, just the world has seen from the hotel incident that Diddy has to have some repercussions for that because what he did that day was totally out of line. You cannot do that. And, you know, somebody made a good comment when I went back and watched the video to, you know, kind of get my notes for today's show. I had to watch it. Did I want to watch it? No. But, you know, watching all the newscasts, all that stuff been in the newscast. Somebody made a comment that Cassie had got immune to the verbal, emotional, physical abuse with Diddy of going through it so much. And that was just so sad when I read that because nobody should have to go through what she went through. Two sides of every story. We're going to hear Diddy. Diddy looks very seriously in this trial. You know, where you seeing Diddy, hip hop mogul, flamboyant outfit, chains on, shades on, Ray-Bans on, Viper Pits on, being Diddy. You know, that's Diddy, being Diddy. But this Diddy looks like more a somebody you would go hear a lecture from your college, a college professor, a sweater on, a pop-up collar, a collar shirt on under the sweater. You know, his hair is gray where it was all black. It's now gray. His mustache is gray. So, you know, he's taking this very seriously. He knows these accusations pretty much is life in jail. He knows there's probably going to be no parole, no early release, life in jail. He's taking this seriously. We're going to be talking about this trial as it goes on, but day 3 was the blow-up day, May 13th, when Cassie just told everything, how Diddy orchestrated all these parties from having lights, cameras, you know, everything. And she feared for her life because she thought she would be blackballed for the stuff she was done. So that's why she stayed silent so long, which is understandable. Now, do I agree with it? No, you should have came out and told these accusations. You should not have had to suffer through this and have to bear that burden every day knowing this. But she tried to put it past her. But now things have come to fruition. It has come to light. And so we're going to be seeing where this goes. Of course, Diddy will be on the stand probably later on. More people will be on the stand. There is a list going around of people that have attended Diddy's parties that now have kind of exiled from themselves from Diddy, which would be the smart thing to do. But we will definitely be talking more about this trial as we move forward on It Stinks. You're watching It Stinks right on the Boom Broadcasting. As the Diddy trial keeps unfolding, we'll be giving you updates of where it's at right now. And we don't know how long this trial will last. Right now, some of the jurors have been asked to be excused off of jury duty because of all the nature of this trial. So we don't know how long it will last. You're watching It Stinks, and we'll be right back after a brief commercial break.
I think it's been the best decision because I gained a son that can't nobody touch. And he's the best son ever. When I say that, I mean that.
Learn about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org.
Welcome back to It Stinks. As we said, we got a lot of TV shows getting the axe, getting cut. Some got saved. Some made it across the finish line with making it that last round of budget cuts. And some people got released from a job, but landed a new job within 2 to 3 weeks. You cannot beat that if you know who I'm talking about. The monster among all monsters, the monster among men. One big SOB, as Pat McAfee would call him, Braun Strowman, who when he got released, if you go back to my WOD show, I said the person who will land on their feet first will be Braun Strowman, whether it was in a wrestling company, TNA, Ring of Honor, AEW, New Japan, or probably, like I said, back in WWE, Braun always finds a way to land back on his feet because Braun has personality, very good personality. I had a chance to meet Braun Strowman after a show in Virginia at the Coliseum. He was driving the dually truck. He came out, and you're going to get these hands, Bump, bump, pull the horn. Everybody goes off. And a few minutes just to sit down and chat up with him. Because hey, I'm a North Carolina boy like you. So, of course, he took 5 minutes just to talk with me. Braun has so much good personality. You see it on WWE in his promo, and you're going to get these hands. Something that nobody had said since early 2000s, late 90s. He got it back over where people were saying it like it was a new normal. You're going to get these hands. Braun has such a great aura and personality around him that he's the type of person that you can pull from the WWE, put him on a TV show, and he'll make it work. Now, Braun, now known as Adam Schaefer for Steve's Ferry, North Carolina, has a show on USA called Everything on the Menu. And when I saw it, I said, okay, where is USA going? It's because USA loves these type of shows where these guys and ladies go, the Bella Twins had one, go visit bars, visit restaurants, and just talk about it, hang out. That's what they're known for a lot now. Those shows have really gotten over with the USA audience, especially me, myself, because the Bella Twins one, I watched all the time. I thought it was pretty cool to see the Bellas just go out to different bars all over the United States and talk about the beer and the alcohol they got and just hang out with average people. Didn't matter who was there. Hey, come in the bar, the Bellas here today. I actually like that one. So you're going to be seeing the same pretty much generic storyline with Braun, where Braun is going to be talking about his life in WWE, on the road traveling, sun up to sundown, from town to town, city to city, stopping at all of these different restaurants, a lot of big chain restaurants, and definitely a lot of mom and pop places. And he's going to be talking about what he ate there. Hey, I went to Rex Brontosaurus Burger Place in Shelby, North Carolina, and had this hamburger that was just great. I stopped by Doug Sauls in Nashville, had some barbecue. I stopped by Gladys Knight Chicken and Waffles in Atlanta, Georgia, had the chicken, had the waffles. I stopped by, it's a place, I can't call the name, in Missouri, that they sell the Big Honker Donut. Braun, if you're watching this, definitely find the name of the place. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Probably next week, I'll drop it in the chat. But it's a place in Missouri or Kansas, one of those two states, that I met the guy who actually makes it. He came to a convention and talked about how he made this thing called the Big Honker Donut and how people fly into this little town to come eat this Big Honker Donut. It's like a destination style, a destination restaurant of America style for people who are traveling. So Braun definitely probably talking about places like that. He's going to be talking about things on the menu, these destination restaurants, these mom and pop restaurants that are in no man's land, somewhere in Franklin, North Carolina, somewhere in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, somewhere in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, somewhere in the back rows of somewhere in the eastern North Carolinas, somewhere like Crickets in Atlanta, Georgia, where a lot of people probably ride by and say, man, I'm not going there. If you're ever in Atlanta, Georgia, go to Crickets. They got the best burger ever. I never had a burger as good as a Cricket burger. Their turkey burger was good and their cheeseburger was good. So good I went 2 days back to back. He's going to be going to places like that, those holes in the walls. And that's what I love. When I'm traveling, going different places, I love to go to these hole-in-the-wall restaurants where, you got the light up sign that is flickering. It's flickering. It's neon lights. Those are the places I like to go to because they got some of the best food, and that's what Braun's going to be doing. Cannot wait to see Braun do this. Like I said, I had a chance to have a conversation with Braun in Virginia. God just got a great personality about himself. Something's big is going to happen. This show's going to be good. And Braun, I expect to see you doing a lot of restaurants that I myself have been at in the Carolinas. You're a Carolina boy like me. And I ate at place at the ENC. I had barbecue in the mountains, and I even ate down in the Piedmont. I want to see you definitely hitting a lot of these spots in the Carolinas. Let people know what we do over in the Carolinas when it comes to food, because you asked me, nothing sweeter than good Carolina barbecue. So Braun's got a show on USA. I cannot wait to watch it. I think this show is going to be a great show because Braun Strowman just has the personality and aura to make a show like this and just make it better. I think he's actually going to be better than the Bella Twins, because the Bella Twins were good, but Braun just has that personality where it's like talking to somebody down home that you've been knowing all your life that you can just gravitate to. Now, another WWE star, and this must be WWE Day on It Stinks. News dropped 2 days ago. It dropped on Monday night during Raw. It came on the good old Twitter machine, the Instagram machine, the Facebook machine, and everything in between on the World Wide Web, which we call the internet. Another WWE star who I have said to myself, the reason this guy does not have a TV show like The Floor is Lava or Family Feud or any type of show, Supermarket Sweep, the reason this guy does not have a show and not hosting it, it fascinates me because he's destined to be a TV show game host. You know, Chris Jericho laid the brick foundation for wrestlers to go host podcasts, TV shows, game shows. He kind of was the first one to break out the barrier. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, what about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? The Rock broke the barrier, him and Batista, The Rock first, then Batista behind him, broke the barrier of you can go into the movie arena. John Cena broke that barrier also of you can be a WWE superstar and go into the movie arena. But The Miz and Jericho took the alternate path, saying, I may not want to do movies. Yes, The Miz did a lot of WWE studio movies. We know about The Marine. He did a lot of those, but he kind of broke that barrier, saying, I can break into this game show host. And The Miz has hosted a lot of one-off game show, TV show hosts where they need a special guest celebrity host. He came in. When I found out The Miz was going to be hosting the revival, the revamp of American Gladiators, the 8-year-old little boy in me just got ecstatic because growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was nothing like after watching pro wrestling, watching American Gladiators on TV. American Gladiators was the show that just made you feel like, man, I can do this. And you got behind the Gladiators and you got behind the Joes. And I really knew that American Gladiators was coming back. I just kept saying, it's coming back on Main Street TV. Main Street TV is coming back because you got to remember in 2023, when American Gladiators dropped the show on Netflix, the docuseries Muscles and Mayhem, that told the docuseries backstory of the American Gladiators. The American Gladiators party like rock stars. Wherever town they went in, whatever city they went in, they were rock stars. They were another version of wrestling on a different style. They didn't have to take the bumps. They were just beating people up in events and games. And everybody liked American Gladiators because, as I said, you wanted to see the Gladiators win, but it was always that one Joe, whether it was a male or a female, that found a way to get over the Gladiators and win. So I'm so glad that the Gladiators are coming back with The Miz hosting this. It's going to be even better. They're bringing back a lot of the old games that we saw in American Gladiators. They're bringing back the event one. What's my favorite one they did? I can't call it now. The Eliminator and the Gauntlet and the Hang Tub. They're bringing those back. They're definitely bringing back the Joust one. I saw that's coming back. But even with the old Gladiators, now we know the old Gladiators are now up in their age. You know, a lot of these guys were up in their age when I was watching as a kid. So, you know, a lot of them are up in age because you saw them on the docuseries. You know, a lot of them are older now. Some of them are still in good shape. I would not want to see them compete as a gladiator, but I would like to see them come back to have some type of interaction with the show. Because I felt like they kind of took a show that went from something supposed to being, we're just going to throw it together, to it blew up that people just gravitated to watching it. So I think the inside of having those as a masterpiece, as backstage producers, would make this show even better. But I definitely want to see these names back on Gladiator. Turbo, Gemini, Nitro, Ice, Siren, Titan, Blaze, Laser, Thunder, Storm, Jazz, Zap, and Sunny. Those were the Gladiators I grew up watching. Those are the names that I want the new Gladiators to associate with, and maybe have those old Gladiators like Storm, who's still out there, Sunny, who's still out there, Turbo, Ice, Siren, Nitro. Gemini, having those come and be a mentor to the Joes to teach them how to beat the Gladiators. It's so much you can do with this. Throwing the Miz in as a host now puts the icing on the cake because the Miz will know how to make this show and take it up here. And that's what I always said about American Gladiators. What made it so good was the Gladiator events, but the host they had always knew how to take the show to the next level. That's what the Miz will do on American Gladiators. Cannot wait to see it come back on. They are shopping around for a streaming network. They don't want to run on cable syndicated TV. They want to have on a streaming device. I will not be surprised if within the next month or two, somebody, Amazon, Netflix, Apple TV, Peacock, HBO, Max, anybody will call them all out. The first one to come to my head, Disney Plus, picks up American Gladiators to run on their streaming app device. Now, we got to look at some shows that are getting canceled. And I have to think about it because we're going to start with Peacock NBC. NBC. And the reason why we start with them is because, as you know, the NBA on NBC is slated to return 2025-2026 season, 26th season of NBA basketball. Basketball is back on NBC. And it's nothing more as a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s watching the Showtime Lakers with Magic, watching the finals with the Bulls and the Utah Jazz, watching the Knicks play on Saturday night. It's nothing more than hearing that NBA on NBC theme music that just gets you fired up to watch basketball. It's nothing more like it. You know, ABC has done a good job. ESPN has done a good job. TNT has done a good job. But it's nothing like the NBA on NBC. It just has that nostalgia that you cannot take away from. It's got that nostalgia. So with this coming back and that theme music coming back, and NBA on NBC, NBC has been sprinkling that theme music since the announcement of them coming back to NBC, the NBA coming back to NBC. They had on Sunday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. And I said, oh, man, you know, hey, I got the goosebumps. I said, man, I remember Saturday night sitting on the bed watching the Knicks play the Bulls, and it was a war. It was a war. Watching the Seattle Supersonics, Gary Payton, Shawn Kemp playing the Lakers. It was a war. Watching Sacramento and the LA Lakers play. It was a war. Watching the Magic when BJ Armstrong left the Bulls and went to the Magic, and the Magic, him and Horace Grant, got the Magic to the Bulls and shocked the world on a Saturday night. Those were classic wars, and the NBL NBC hosted that. Now, in order for NBC to have this, they got to remove some shows, and I was disappointed. Suits LA got removed. It got the cut. Like I said, the final cuts are coming right now. It got the cut. My show Found got the cut. Now, with NBL and NBC coming back, they were able to keep two shows, as we stated on earlier episodes. Irrational got to cut a few more shows, but the last two that got the cut last week, the last two that did not survive and make it to the finish line, was Suits LA and Found. Now, Brilliant Minds survived. They will continue on. The Hunting Party will survive. I said I thought the Hunting Party would definitely survive because it did good numbers on Peacock. And I always say when a show starts on a streaming app and then they transition it over to TV, that means it did very well. Now they want to get even more eyes on it. So the Hunting Party survived. Now, two shows from NBC that got cut, they got picked up by Fox that shocked me were Weakest Link and Fear Factor. I'm a big fan of Fear Factor. I like Fear Factor. Now, would I go on Fear Factor? No. It's not that many things I'm scared of, but some of the things that kind of give me the Jeepers Creepers, I wouldn't want to have to break my fear over that. So, Fear Factor, I would love to watch it, but I wouldn't want to participate. Both of them got picked up. I was shocked. They got picked up by Fox. So, Fox was able to grab both of them. Now, everything I'm reading and everything that I have been researching on with Found, especially, and Suits LA, is they're trying to shop these shows around and land them on another network. Could I see Found going to Fox? Yes. Could I see it maybe coming to CBS on Paramount Plus? Possibility. Could I see ABC pick it up? No, not at all. Netflix would pick it up, but I think Netflix would pick it up and then probably after a year let it go. I think their biggest shot would either get Fox or CBS. Now, if they got Netflix, I will be pretty much shocked on how long the show survives on Netflix. Now, Suits LA, Netflix all the way. If Netflix picked this up, it will continue on for a long season. Netflix will really build because that show feels more like a Netflix style show versus where Found does not. Now, I can see Found maybe getting picked up by Hulu to run on Hulu because Found has big numbers. They draw big numbers, not on the live watching of the show, but on the DVR watching. And that's how I am with Found. I watch it more DVR and on the streaming app of Peacock versus live when it comes on Friday nights. And also in a bad slot. Friday night's always a bad slot when you got SmackDown, basketball, everything, high school football, getting ready to be thrown again, all that stuff going on. It's just hard on a Friday night. Now, CBS has some shows that are going to survive. Brody, Fire Country, they're getting a season 4. Ellsbell is getting a season 3. I really knew Ellsbell was going to survive. CBS dumped a lot of money in Ellsbell at the beginning of this show to get people. Ellsbell for Abbott Elementary on ABC was getting a lot of heavy promotion. Ellsbell was getting that on CBS. So you felt like Ellsbell was going to survive due to all the upfront funding they did to get people to put their eyes on the show. Then you also got other shows on CBS that survived. Tracker's going to be back on. That's a good show right there. NCIS Sydney, NCIS the original one, NCIS Origins, all three of them got renewed on CBS. So you definitely can see that continuing on. Now, when you look at ABC, right now ABC picked up 911 from Fox. Didn't pick up Lone Star. I was mad about that. 911 is doing much better on ABC than it was on Fox. I don't know if ABC fired the Fox writers and brought in new writers, but the show feels more better than what it was presented on Fox. On Fox, it was good, but just the storyline it feels much better. Feels more user-friendly that you can follow along and don't have that little bumpy ride like you had on Fox. Thought that Fox put more time and effort in 911 Lone Star, which was my favorite one that got dropped and didn't get picked up by ABC when that Fox did the cuts. But ABC is now spinning off a 911 Nashville based out of Nashville, Tennessee. All I can ask ABC and beg them for is to please have Jim Patrick, Gina Torres, Rob Lowe, Natalia, Kareem, Brianna Baker, and the rest of the 911 Lone Star have those firefighters transferred over to Nashville to be on 911 Nashville. To me, Lone Star had the better storylines, better actors. 911 just had Angela Bassett that just had that more weight because Angela Bassett is just a star amongst stars. And you felt that's why ABC picked it up because Angela Bassett had people watching just who it was on the show, where Lone Star just had my boy Rob Lowe and Gina Torres, and then just kind of had some more stars around them. Then, of course, when my girl left, the McClain girls, she still comes from the McClain family, all them sing, China, all them that was on Disney. When she left, you kind of felt like there was no more star power besides Gina Torres and Rob Lowe. I really hope this happens. If they can make that happen, it would make me happy to see the Lone Star people on the 911 Nashville spinoff. Now, another show on ABC that survived. You talk about the final bell. They survived the final bell. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt this show was done. Dr. Odyssey survives. Ryan Murphy gets one more season to write a show about a high seas boat with a doctor on that's called the love triangle with his staff member. And then she's called love triangle with the other staff member. They get another season. This show right here has not been one to keep me watching it. I finished the whole season. After finishing the whole season, I really felt it was going to get the cut on ABC, but it survived. And that's the name of the game. What did Taz say best? Survive if you can. It survived if it could by making the final cut and getting over the finish line. Will be shocked if it brought back again for a season 3, but for season 2, I would not be shocked if Ryan Murphy brings in new writers and writes a new storyline for this. So a lot of shows are getting shifted around. Some have been picked up by the rival network, Fox. Some, like Found in Suits LA, is still looking at Amazon or Netflix or Fox or CBS, ABC to pick those up. Some shows, I'm hoping the cast from another show that got cut transition to the new show and kind of find a way to work the chemistry in that way. Just a lot going on. As I said, we truly enjoy being with you today on It Stinks. So much going on in the world of television and movie. So much going on in the world of entertainment with this Diddy case that will definitely be following right on It Stinks. This is Shawn. We got more content coming on the Boom Broadcaster. Stay tuned. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button and give the big thumbs up if you like this video. Hit subscribe, hit that bell notification so every time a video is dropped or we go live on Boom Broadcast, we got so much content on this channel. You can get a notification to tune in and to watch it as everybody else of the 500 subscribers have done already before you. This is Shawn. It definitely stinks, and we will see you next week.